Hillary Clinton have disrespected young activists repeatedly. The reality is that these young activists are the future of our party, and yes, they're primarily with our candidate. But what's also true is that we're going to need them this fall, whoever's on the ballot. And you cannot have people as respected as the Clintons repeatedly insulting Greenpeace activists, Black Lives Matter activists, and not have it have a real impact. And they've got to get that, changed. They just absolutely
Ben,
have to get it changed.
let me just push back on you on that. I completely disagree. I mean, they strongly support and embrace the people who are being activists. So, no, I mean, they know that they need them. We all need each other in the end. You and I have had this conversation. In the end, it is so critical that we stay together and that we steer away on both sides from anything that would be perceived stealing away votes for the all-important general election, given what we're up against.
Ben, you want to respond?
Yeah, I mean, these.
You agree with me, Ben.
I talked to these young activists. I traveled to college campuses, and the reality is that the way that the Clintons have repeatedly spoken to young activists is a threat to actually seeing large turnout come this fall if she's on the ballot. She's got to turn that corner, and you know that.
So Ben, let me ask you this:
she absolutely has to be more respectful of young activists.
The example is of the former President Clinton last week, and then again, pulling it back, not quite apologizing. What's the other example of insulting people? You said Greenpeace, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Greenpeace, Black Lives Matter, Ashley, the Black Lives Matter activist who confronted her down in South Carolina. She's got to actually invest in the future of our party. And this is one of the things that, and I think why what happened at George Clooney's house, kind of cuts so badly is that, Bernie's somebody who's put his faith in his base, has said, look, if you just got $10, $20, send that to me, I will run my candidacy on that. I've traveled with him. I have never seen him divert to go do a fundraiser. I've never seen him stop actually out there campaigning with the people to call a donor. But in the meantime, we have the mainstream media, going after our guy for going to the Vatican. And it was only after the fact and after protests and after George Clooney himself said that it was obscene that the mainstream media began to question.
But also George Clooney said that he understands.
California to rack up $353,000.
He also said that he understands. He thinks it is obscene, but he also understands that one needs to raise money in order to stay in the presidential race. It's just what it is.
Right.
Bad to raise money.
From the people in biggest.
And Ben, I mean,
we
need to invest in the infrastructure of this party if we are to win in the general election. She's raising money not just for herself, but for all of these candidates who will ultimately, we hope, cast a vote in favor of a Supreme Court justice that will overturn Citizens United.
So far, where has that money gone? That money gone?
She's raised $35 million for down-ballot candidates.
To do small-dollar fundraising in a way that's, that quite frankly is unique, and we haven't seen it been done before.
And it's great.
It's the same lawyer on both sides. The lawyer for the campaign, the lawyer for the DNC.
But it's for him. It's great, but it's for him. She has been raising money for the whole ticket. That's the point, is that she is raising money for others who we need to cast votes.
And I may post a link. You can watch the rest of that interaction. Why'd I play it? Because one of the major issues that Bernie Sanders has been bringing up and a lot of his surrogates is the incredible amount of money that Hillary Clinton has been raising. And I thought there was some very interesting points that Jennifer Granholm, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, raised there. And I thought there was some interesting counterpoints for Mr. Ben Jealous as well. And again, I'll put the information out there. You make your own decision. And there's been lots of talk about Hillary Clinton and her fundraising efforts with Wall Street. And to her defense, she says, look, that's not necessarily going to stop me from going after Wall Street. She even put Barack Obama front and center, saying, look, he took a lot of money from Wall Street. And there's a lot of people who feel as if Barack Obama, that's been a huge failure of his presidency, is that he hasn't more aggressively gone after the Wall Street banksters, the Wall Street gangsters, okay? And I don't know, if you take a lot of money from somebody, that's going to influence you. To say it will not is a lie. Is it going to ultimately sway you if you believe that the interest from the money is at odds with the people that voted on you? I would say no, okay, speaking from my perspective. But, to say it has no influence whatsoever, it's interesting. But Bernie Sanders has taken money from fat cats with deep pockets. So the real issue is, and again, we're not going to get to the end of it during this election cycle, it's the amount of money that it costs to run for president. See, what we need to take the money out of politics, nobody really has a stomach for. And that is publicly financed elections. And there's a lot of problem with it because who gets public financing? Is it just the 2 top candidates? Is it the top 10 candidates? Is there a cap on it? Hey, it costs a lot of money for advertisement. It costs a lot of money to get on television. It costs a lot of money to get on radio. And as long as the money's in the game, then the deep pockets, the corporate interests are always going to have an advantage in the sense that how many $500 or $1,000 per plate dinners have you attended? If your favorite candidate was having a $10,000 per plate dinner, a $5,000 per plate luncheon, where you can meet the candidate, you can sit at the table with the candidate, you can shake the candidate's hand, you can whisper into their ear, could you afford it? Most people are going to say no. And that's the problem with it, is that the money does afford those individuals more access. It does. And listen, I thought that Citizens United was a huge mistake. I still believe, from what I understand of it. I haven't read the entire ruling. I did read some of it. From what I understand of it. But what are we going to do about it? You got folks out there that won't even vote because their vote doesn't matter, Nate. My vote doesn't matter. What else here? I want to make sure we get everything. Councilman Smitherman says he's honored to help find and to help the police investigation into the shooting of a woman in Bond Hill. 2 women were shot just two days ago, I believe. And my question is, what's up in Bond Hill? I know that intersection very, very well. If you missed it, I'll say it again. My daughter attended the CRC around the corner and down the block. Last year, there was a shooting that blocked the street. And it took my wife forever to get to our daughter. She was trying to pick her up one day after work. So even though I don't live in Bond Hill, I used to live in Bond Hill. I spent a couple years. My father used to live in Bond Hill. Yes, he did. I've lived almost in every. Look, when you're a Section 8 kid in the city of Cincinnati, you might have lived in almost every neighborhood, and I did. Okay? I know that spot very, very well. I stopped at that Richie's with the wifey 2 weeks ago. I mean, we traverse that intersection all the time. So that's a part of our main sort of route, okay? What are we going to do about it? What can the businesses over there do about it? I know that I'm not calling Mr. Smitherman out, but I'm putting it on the table. I know Mr. Smitherman owns a building over there, other than just giving the police a surveillance tape, because that's easy. And I know that he's put efforts out there. I mean, he's done events and tried to get media. That's all happened. But what's the next step? I mean, if those businesses unite with with the residents of Bond Hill, okay, some concerned politicians from city council, maybe we can turn it around. Or is that just fool's gold? I mean, I'm not trying to be cynical, but I'm playing the other side of it. What can we really do about the fact that somebody else didn't raise their kid right? And now their kids run around here with a handgun or multiple guns or in a gang or in the illegal underground market of drugs or who knows what else. What can we really do about that? I mean, the issue of crime is so deep. It's interwoven with a lot of different issues. But I don't think it's fair to keep saying, the black community doesn't believe in snitching. That is not true. As I said earlier, okay? As I said earlier, no one cares more about the crime in the neighborhood than the people that live in those neighborhoods. No one does. It's impossible. So the people in Bond Hill care more about the violence in Bond Hill than the people who live other places in the city of Cincinnati. It just makes sense. It just makes sense, folks. But listen, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you. This show will be made available as a podcast immediately following the show. You can find it on my website, www.nathanivey.com. Shout out to my friends over at soulpublicradio.com. They carry the show each and every day. Great mix of music. If you haven't heard them, check them out again. soulpublicrecords.com. And they also carry the show, I believe, 4 p.m. in our time frame. And you can check out the show. And do me a favor, just tell one person about the show. Just one person. And it's working. I am looking at the numbers. I appreciate you, okay? Have a great Tuesday, okay? Right? Make it a powerful Tuesday. And I'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for more superlative flows on people, politics, and pleasure. My name is Nathan Ivey. And until tomorrow morning, I'm out.